Previously on Week Slam.
Okay. Next week's activity is juggling for Miss Kim and Sailor. Hello and welcome to Week Slam with your host Sam, where the goal of my channel is to try out a new hobby, interest, or activity for 1 week straight and give you guys the progress update about what you can learn in 5 days. This week's viewer suggested activity is juggling.
Juggling, as we know it, is believed to be one of the oldest forms of entertainment in the world, with records found in ancient Egyptian tombs dating back to around 2000 BC. Although this is the oldest record of juggling, it's been seen everywhere throughout history from Europe, India, Greece, and Rome. There's even been mention of the sport from around 400 BC that describes a rabbi named Shimon ben Gamaliel who juggled 8 torches at once. Jumping ahead to medieval times, juggling gained popularity through entertainers who would also sing and perform magic. Fast forward to the 18th century, and juggling is seen again with many circus clowns adding it to their performances. However, modern jugglers still debate the notion that it's more than a circus act. The next big event in juggling history was in 1947 at a convention for the International Brotherhood of Magicians, who decided the world needs an organization dedicated solely to the art, and thus the International Juggling Association was born. The IJA is still going strong to this day and holds yearly competitions for jugglers wishing to put their skill to the test. By this time next year, look for me on stage.
Hello and welcome to day number 1 of the juggling challenge. Today, we're out here with my friend Charlie, so let's see how it goes. The first day, I mostly worked on my base technique by tossing the ball from one hand to another, and tried to keep good form by not letting my throws shoot out of reach. To keep good form, you gotta have your elbows at your side, knees shoulder width apart, and try to keep your throws in a centered point, like your forehead. Once I felt comfortable doing this, I tried juggling 2 balls by starting with one, and as it reached its peak, I'd throw the second ball on the inside. This step is very important because once you add a third ball, you have to keep your throws controlled or else they'll go all over the place. Hello and welcome back to day number 2 of learning juggling. Today, we're out here on the nose and my goal is to make 5 sequences in a row. Let's see how it goes. On the second day, I started out by using 3 balls at the beginning and practiced from there. This is when I began to realize just how important working on your base form really is. And with a little more practice, I was able to complete 5 throws or sequences in a row. A few minutes after this, I discovered that once you get familiar enough of tossing them, you'll start to flow naturally and switch the balls automatically. Once I was able to flow naturally, it felt like I unlocked a new power, which is what I'm assuming they call actually juggling. What is up, YouTube? We are back on day number 3. Let's do some juggling. To be honest, day 3 was a little more of a challenge than I thought it'd be. After I unlocked this new automatic mode, I kept finding myself losing form after a couple of throws and not being able to control the balls as much as before. I tried to work on my technique by going back to tossing 2 balls slowly in the correct spot, but found the challenge when I went into that automatic mode. Whenever I'd start to throw the balls faster, they'd sometimes fly all over the place, which I came to find out is fixed with a little more practice. We are back on day number 4 of juggling with some upgraded juggling balls. Let's jump right in and see how it goes. On the 4th day, I actually started to see a little improvement. While throwing the balls in automatic mode, I was able to look and see if the balls were going too far out and start to consciously bring them back after each throw. Towards the middle of the hour, a dude named Gavin came by and actually mastered juggling for the first time in a matter of about 30 seconds. Either I'm the greatest teacher in the world or some people are just naturals. Today we saw some great progress that really helped us improve for the final day. It is day number 5 of juggling. Welcome to part 1. On day 5, we did things a little differently. Instead of the normal hour of practice, I broke the training into 3 20-minute sessions, each with their own challenge. The first part was a simple 20-minute warm-up that helped me prepare for what was coming next.
Welcome to day 5, part 2. Let's go.
The first challenge of the day was trying to juggle on the unicycle, which I can tell you is surprisingly not as difficult as you'd think it would be. When I would pedal and start to juggle, the biggest challenge I faced was actually trying to keep the balls in the right spot. This is obviously more of a challenge when you're on a moving object without any handles, but by the end of the session, I was able to throw about 5 sequences successfully.
Welcome back to the final part of our day 5 juggling extravaganza, the slack line. Here we go.
Our final and most difficult challenge was to try juggling on the slack line. After feeling pretty good on the unicycle, this one came as a shock since I'd actually been practicing the slack line more. What would happen is I could get up and walk fine, but the second I'd start to juggle the balls, it'd throw my balance out of whack and I'd have to jump down. By the end of the session, I was able to get about 4 throws in successfully, but to master this challenge, I definitely say you need a lot more practice. And that is it for a week of juggling. Despite my dad being able to juggle like a pro, this is actually my first attempt at practicing, and I'd rate the overall difficulty 4 out of 5 stars. Even though I was able to successfully juggle at the end of the week, I'm still working on my form, and I have a long way to go before I can say I mastered it. The biggest challenge I faced was trying to keep the balls in the correct area and not having to chase them down as you throw them. To correct this, all you need to do is practice your base form, and through repetition it'll come with time. If you want to try your luck at juggling, it's not very expensive, but I will warn you, I bought this cheap 6-pack of juggling balls that started tearing at the seams on the second day, so I returned them and bought some professional juggling balls. I'm not gonna lie, these bougie juggling balls are weighted and have a nice mesh feel to them, kind of like a hacky sack that was a lot better to use than the cheap ones. So check out the link below for my recommended juggling balls. If you want to give juggling a shot, I'd love to see your progress, so record a video of yourself and tag Week Slam on any of our social media. Alright guys, that is it for episode 7 of Week Slam with your host Sam. Don't forget to leave a comment below on what activity you want to see me try next. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and share the video to help the channel grow. Thanks for watching and see you next week. But before you go, we're going to be spinning the viewer-suggested Wheel of Slams to find out next week's activity. Let's spin this sucker and see what's next. All right. Next week's activity